I'm sure you've noticed how it's possible to spend a lot of time behind a computer screen, yet at the end of the day, you barely got anything done. And that's because without even realizing it, a lot of people fall for the trap of being busy instead of being productive. But nobody cares if you're working 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day, if you don't have the results that people typically associate with hard work. And sometimes what I've noticed is that in only 4 hours of pure focus, I was able to significantly outwork my competition. Now, if you know my story, then you'll know. I went from being a shy, anxious teen who couldn't get anything done, who struggled to focus, who didn't have an ounce of discipline, to becoming the very paragon of discipline. And nowadays, I'm able to enter specific periods in my life where all I'm gonna do for 30 to 90 days is work, go to the gym, and maybe at night read some non-fiction. And doing this allows me to destroy the competition, to get stuff done faster than anyone else. But then obviously you can't sustain that forever. If you do that for 30 days, you need to take at least a few days off, up to a week or 2 weeks off. But just a few years ago, it would have been impossible for me to do. I couldn't work for 45 minutes without being distracted, without wanting to get up and just do something else, something more entertaining, more interesting. But one of the keys to success is doing the boring work, even when you don't feel like doing it. That is what differentiates unsuccessful everyday people from very successful people. If they have a goal, no matter what it takes, no matter how boring or how painful the work might be, they will still get it done. Because to successful people, the outcome that they have in mind is worth everything and more. Now, my goal with this video is to share with you every method I use to guarantee godlike productivity. If you apply these things I'm going to reveal in just an instant, you are guaranteed to become so productive, the results that you get will not only shock you, but also all the people around you. So pay attention. Maybe some people told you, if you want to be able to be productive, if for some reason you just struggle to focus, you're never consistent, then maybe the reason why is because you don't have a strong enough reason to do the work. I mean, I remember when I was still in school, I had to do my homework, but I just never did it because I knew I would pursue entrepreneurship. I knew I wouldn't go down the traditional path because it would never help me to reach my goals. If I did, I would just set myself up for a life of misery, of failure, and of disappointment. I knew that if I wanted to join the top 1%, to experience the best possible type of life, I knew I needed to do something different. Following everyone else was not gonna lead me to the outcomes I wanted. And so no matter how many times my parents, my teachers would tell me, you need to do your homework, your grades matter, or whatever else they would be telling me, I simply couldn't care less. So in school, if a subject interested me, then I'd get good grades because I'd work on it. I'd do it with passion, with enthusiasm. But the things I didn't care about, I simply didn't work on it at all because I knew, again, it wouldn't serve me. Which is why I genuinely believe that if you don't have a strong enough reason to do the work, then you simply won't. You're not broken. Nothing's wrong with you. However, while you need a strong reason to do the work, and while a lot of people, productivity experts will tell you, the first thing you need to focus on if you want to get more stuff done, you want to be more productive, is having a strong reason why you do the work. But I'll even go one step further. We often let ourselves down. I can't tell you how many times in my life, when I was way less disciplined than I currently am, I told myself, this time I'm gonna get rid of all of my bad habits. I'm gonna start going to the gym, getting up early. And then I would do these things for 3 to 4 days, but I couldn't stick to it any longer. A few years ago, I was on a trip with a friend, and he basically asked me, how can you be so confident? And again, that guy knew me from years ago. We were essentially childhood friends, so he saw my entire transformation. He saw me going from being anxious, so anxious in fact, I couldn't even leave my parents' house, to becoming very confident in social situations. So whereas before, the teenager version of myself was afraid to even just pick up the phone and make a call, nowadays I speak to anyone with ease, as if I were born an extrovert, when again, that couldn't be further from the truth. But he essentially asked me, how can you be so confident? Because that friend knew I wasn't born with that ability, with that confidence. And I think it's easy to look at someone right now, they're super confident, they just talk to strangers easily as if they knew them. Or maybe they make a lot of money, they run marathons every year, and you're like, you look at these people, you wonder, how do they actually do it? Were they just born with something that I wasn't born with? The truth is, for 99% of them, no. In fact, they were just like you a few years in the past. But when you tell yourself, you know what, I'm gonna get up at 6 every morning, and then I'm gonna crush an intense workout session, I'll go for a run, I'll go to the gym, I'll jump rope, but then you don't actually do it, when the alarm goes off at 6 a.m, you don't even get out of bed, you're signaling to your own brain that you can't even trust yourself. And you might be very ambitious, but oftentimes you're gonna let yourself down because let's face it, it's difficult to get up at 5, to do some deep work and then go to the gym and then go to your day job, to school, or if you run your own business, come back home, work all day again. It's very difficult. And your brain, it doesn't want you to expend more energy than necessary. So it's gonna try to come up with every possible excuse to make you just do nothing. Your brain is not wired for you to reach your goals, so you have to be smarter than it. But my point is, if you're not gonna gonna do it for you, you've gotta do it for someone that you love. I genuinely believe that love is one of the strongest motivators, if not the greatest possible motivator. Let me ask you a question. Would you run into a burning building for no reason? No, of course not. Why would you? You wouldn't put yourself in danger for no reason, would you? Now imagine there's the love of your life, your child, someone that you really care about in that burning building. There's only you and them. No one else can help. Now, would you go and run into that burning building, try to save their life? If you try and force yourself to get up at 5, to do some deep work before school or before your day job, because you want a Ferrari, because you want a nice expensive watch, for sure these things are amazing, but sometimes they're not gonna be enough to get you out of bed. And when you do achieve these things, you won't even want to get out of bed. At some point, it's no longer about the money. All the billionaires that you see, they have so much money, it's not like they need to make any more of it. But like I said, at some point, it's not about the money, it's about what they can accomplish, how they can change the world, impact society positively. It becomes a different type of game. So whereas you might get started in business for purely selfish reasons, and there's nothing wrong with that, later on when you make a lot more money, then you can simply be more generous because you've got enough, like more than enough in fact, to cover your needs and the needs of the people that you love. Before you can be generous with others, you need to save yourself and your family. Trust me, I know some people, all they do is complain, say that life is unfair, that this and that is wrong, or that we should do this and that. But these people are just talkers, not doers. You will not change the world with just pretty little sentences. You change the world with action. Now, a couple years ago, when I couldn't get myself to work, I wasn't disciplined. I thought that if only I could have more discipline, if only I had more willpower, I could transform my life. I could obtain every single thing I had always dreamed of. But what I didn't understand at the time is that all the people I saw getting up at 4 a.m., working 12-hour days, becoming multimillionaires, achieving crazy things, these people, the reason why they were able to achieve these things, it wasn't only discipline and willpower. Sure, I'm not gonna lie to you, you'll need to be disciplined. You will need to develop the ability to use your willpower effectively. However, to be honest, the people that you see getting up early every day, going to the gym, the reason why they're able to keep doing it for months and for years, it's because deep down, they love it. They love the pain, they love the struggle, they love the grind. If you hate every single thing that you do, you're not gonna stick to it. It doesn't matter if it's in a month, in a year, in 10 years, but at some point, you will give up. The people who can work on something for 20 years or more, the only reason they're able to do so is because deep down, they find gratification in the struggle, they find gratification in the pain. And I'm kind of like that myself. I love setting big challenges and making progress towards those big challenges. Ironically, what feels the best, it's not even once you reach the objective, because then you need to set another goal, otherwise, well, life is pointless. Without goals, you're gonna get bored very quickly, but you genuinely fall in love with the process. When you get up early to work while everyone else is asleep on a Sunday, you find fuel in that accomplishment. And doing it one time will not change your life, but doing it 30, 300 times sure as hell will. Which is why if you truly want to be extremely productive, achieve a lot of things, more than most people ever thought that you could, the secret is to make it effortless. That's the key to sustainability. Let's say you wanted to lose weight and you love chocolate cake. It's your favorite thing in the world, you just can't resist it. But the issue is your family also loves cakes, pastries, so there's always chocolate cake on the table. Every single day you walk in the kitchen, it's staring at you. You start your diet, on day 1 you can resist, you use your willpower. But then a few days later, oh guess what, you're eating a piece of chocolate cake. And so now you start to hate yourself. You think, oh, I'm not disciplined, I have no willpower. And you look at these fitness models and you think, why can't I be like them? What do they have that I don't? But what you failed to realize is that the easiest way to lose the weight, to not eat the chocolate cake, it's to just hide it somewhere so you don't even see it. Some people think that you only have so much willpower, and so the more decisions you make, the more you drain your willpower, and at the end of the day, you've got none left, which is why people binge it on cookies and on ice cream at night, while others think the opposite. They believe you have as much willpower as you think you have. But the goal is to optimize your environment in such a way. Doing the hard work, the boring work, becomes the easiest and the funniest thing in the world to do. So if you want to lose weight but you love ice cream, don't have it in the fridge or swap it for protein ice cream. If you hate being on the treadmill, you could watch Netflix on the treadmill. I've seen some people do that. Find a way to make the things that you need to do to reach your goals as fun and as rewarding as possible. Studies have shown time and again that people who genuinely love what they do, they get the best results. People who hate the process and only care about the end result, they never go far, unfortunately. If you'd like to read more books, put a Kindle on your pillow, let's say, so that when you go to sleep, you'll think, oh, you know what, I'm gonna start reading a couple pages. Just like if you want to learn to play the guitar and you bought a guitar, but you have it somewhere hidden away, like you don't even know where it is, you're not gonna be playing very often, as opposed as if it were in your room. Like the moment you enter your room, you cannot not see the guitar, and it's very accessible. So remember, the key to sustainability is to make the things that you want to do or need to do effortless. Remove as much friction as possible. You know, when you spend 12 hours a day working extremely extremely hard because you've got big goals, but at the end of the day, you realize I haven't done much stuff at all, yet you still feel drained, exhausted. All you feel like doing is sleeping for 24 hours straight. The issue is, you might have worked long hours, but you were not productive, you were only busy. And busyness does not equal productivity. It would be too easy otherwise. The thing that most people don't realize is that in anything that you do, in any area of life, only a few key activities matter to make progress. Typically in any business, you will find that only 20% of the products actually make up 80% of the revenue. So if you go tell your sales reps to just try to sell as many products as they can, they might be putting their attention, their focus on selling the products which people don't really care about. If instead you said, okay, let's analyze what we do, you would see which products are best sellers and you would tell your sales reps, just focus on those. If you have a service-based online business, what actually matters is that you reach out to as many potential customers as possible, and then that you get on sales meeting with them, and then that you deliver the results for your customers. Anything else becomes irrelevant. Nobody cares about how pretty your website is. Sure, at some point, having a nice website, it adds a touch of professionalism, but at first you don't want to worry about that. At the end of the day, especially if you are the only one working, you need to focus on the essentials. You only have so much brain power, so much energy, and you also only have a certain amount of time to allocate to working every single day. So you can't be everywhere at the same time and nowhere at the same time. If we take two people, they both work, let's say 10 hours a day, but one is focusing on the key activities that actually do something, that actually move the needle forward, the 20% of activities that bring 80% of the results, that person will move so much faster, so much further than the other person who's working the same amount of hours but focusing on things that don't matter, completing unimportant tasks. If you're a content creator, you need to publish more content. That's it. No one cares about your banner, your profile picture, that you're constantly checking your emails, your analytics, responding to every single comment. Sure, these things can be done, but do them after creating content. Focus on the fundamentals. At the end of the day, if you're trying to focus on 10,000 different things at once, you will end up making no progress at all. Oftentimes what I've noticed is that you can only really level up 1 to 2 to maximum 3 areas of life at once. But obviously, the more time, money, resources, and attention you allocate to only one specific goal, the faster you're gonna get what you want. Now this might mean that for a while, if you want to focus on making more money, to give you an example, the other aspects of your life are gonna suffer. Currently, all I do is work. Literally, I'm up at 5 to 5:30 and I work 12 hours a day. I go to the gym, that's all I do. So sure, my relationships suffer a bit. I'm always on airplane mode. It pisses off some people, but I don't care. If you want to be great, that is what it takes. People don't respect you when you're available. People respect you when you are valuable. So do everything in your power to become great at what you do. Focus on your craft. Remove all distractions. You will never lose the right people on the pursuit to greatness. But pursuing the wrong people, you will miss out on your chance to be great. Now, when you're just starting out, you might have to wear more hats, so to speak, to do more things all by yourself. Because at the beginning, you might not be able to afford hiring and delegating. But as soon as you can afford to do so, you should make it your priority. And in fact, sometimes you can even delegate the work as soon as you get started. The way that we help people to start a profitable service-based online business at Consulting Fastlane is that we get you to leverage contractors. Think about businesses like Airbnb, Uber. Airbnb doesn't have any hotels, any apartments. It's simply a platform connecting the customers and the service providers. The same thing is true with Uber, with Deliveroo, with Booking.com. But at the end of the day, you can work extremely hard, but if you're not working at the right thing, you will never be successful. You'll never make $10,000 a month. There's plenty of people all over the world. They work extremely hard, 12, 14-hour days, yet they're not billionaires. So it's not the more you work, the harder you work, the more you'll be rewarded. Life is profoundly unfair. Things don't work this way. You have to be smarter than that. And if you truly want to be successful, you want to make a lot of money. And not only that, you want to be free, be able to travel wherever you want, live anywhere in the world, have no limits, no boundaries. The best thing that you can do is to start an online business. Now, if you have no clue where to start, I've recorded a free video in which I analyze every popular online business model. Together, we take a look at the pros, at the cons. Now, with that said, if you apply these productivity secrets I shared with you in today's video, I genuinely believe you will triple your productivity. Now, with that said, what are you waiting for? It's time to get back to work.